Let's see. I believe that we're warming up out there. There's going to be a big show. Let me start this off by reminding everyone to go to hankstrange.com, sign up for our email list there. That way you can get the newsletter from Lola that she puts out, as well as notifications of deals and things like that she finds. Excuse me. And I would also like to invite everyone to go over to US Law Shield. We've got a link for that. So if you guys use our code, which I think I could share it here, it's in the chat if you're looking for it right now. We can't post it on YouTube, so you have to go to hankstrange.com to get it. You can get 2 free months when you use the code Hank on an annual membership. So we appreciate that. I think your rate will be locked in at $10.95. So there you go. All right. That being said, here, big shout out to Barnaul, makers of performance steel case ammunition. I have to let you guys know that they do sponsor us. And we've got Dave of Barnauls here with us today. So just upfront exposure of that knowledge to you guys so that no one can fault me for not saying that. And that being said, I'm going to jump right in here. Don't forget to like, share, smash the thumbs ups, all that kind of stuff. We need that, especially since we're severely shadow banned by the YouTubes here. All right, let me kick off the open. Let's do this.
Welcome back to the Hank
All right, guys,
situation.
Don't forget to smash that subscribe button, smash the thumbs ups, ring the bell so you can be notified when we go live. I got a bell right there. There we go. There we go, ringing the bell. We are live. I hope you guys have your big girl panties on. This is episode 814 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. As I said, we have Dave Kiwacka. Did I get that right? No. I always mess it up. Kiwacka. I don't know why. I must have this somehow like misspelled somewhere. Lola's gonna have to double check me. I mess it up every time, Dave.
Oh yeah, you got it spelled wrong on the podcast too.
Yeah, you're supposed to tell me that before we go.
I just looked at it.
You're supposed to double check me. What's up, man? What's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just enjoying Thursday and seeing all the news, the new news that's breaking out there.
Oh yeah. Lots of crazy news joining us. Okay. Yes, absolutely. So Lola, hopefully you're out there changing that and fixing that for me. I don't know. I've got to change that in my phone or wherever. You know, I am a little bit dyslexic, so I'm always messing up stuff like this. Sean Curtis is also here of Pew Tactical. Did I get that right, Sean? At all?
You got it, man. You got it right on the head.
Oh, look, you got a T-shirt on anyway, so there you go. That's how. See, Dave, where's your T-shirt, man?
We've still not done any Barnaul T-shirts. We still haven't.
Yeah, you've got some kind of weird, like, looks like a fraternity shirt on.
These actually some guys I met that do AKs. They do some different stuff. That's evocative strategic. They're cool guys. Met them a couple months back.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Very nice. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show. We got some. Oh, now I'm messing this up too. We have a lot of different stuff to talk about here. So you guys need to make sure you smash those thumbs up, share it, all that kind of stuff. If people have questions for Dave, he's also, if you've seen him on here talking about High Point as well as Barnauls. Oh, we got a kid. There he goes. Somebody's getting. There you go. Getting
right.
Getting it in. Okay. All right. So, yeah. If anyone has questions or anything like that, let us know. We will get to it. I'm sure today is a big news day for quite a few things breaking out there. But let me start with these guys. Sean, Dave, where do you guys want to start? You want to start with the elephant in the room? The ATF Chipman thing. Where do you guys?
Why not? I think it's great. No doubt.
Yeah. When did you guys find out about this? I found out about this early in the morning. I think I was probably one of the first people to post this on social media. And I would like to say that I'm like so awesome, and that's how. But basically, I was talking to my friend John, who works at MLN News and GOA and all that, and we were talking about another thing that's going on, and all of a sudden he starts going, "Oh wow. I was like, oh crap. He said like about 10 wows.
With no other context.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell's going on with you, man? You having a stroke? And he was like, oh, they pulled Dave Chipman's nomination for the ATF. So And he was like, I gotta write a story on this. I gotta go. Meanwhile, I immediately went to the Washington Post. I think that's who broke it. Let me see. I think that's who. When I was looking at it, I think it was the Washington Post, and I immediately went there and did a screen capture of that article. Let me see if I could throw it up for everyone to see. Oh, I got it.
That might be one I shared on Barnaul,
yeah.
maybe?
Yeah. Probably. So anyway, I went there immediately and shared it. I definitely have a picture that I could show you guys of that, and I shared it on all my social media and all that kind of stuff. And we were on from there. Here he goes. That's what the headline looked like this morning. White House to withdraw nomination of David Chipman to head ATF in face of bipartisan pushback over his gun control advocacy. So that's my story on how I found out about it. Let's start with Sean. How'd you find out about this?
I think I caught Barnauls reposting of your post, Hank, and that's where I learned of it first. But the funny thing is that you can tell that I think my feed wasn't very diverse, because just about everyone that I'm plugged into on Instagram had a similar post, maybe a different angle on Homeboy's face, but it was all the good news scrolling through, right?
Yeah. This is kind of crazy, but gun guys, Dave, are probably like, every gun guy in America just broke the internet or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How'd you find out about all this, Dave?
It's the same thing. It was all over my feed. I mean, I know I saw yours. I think I saw the Brownells, and I forget who else's. Because the first ones I saw, I thought it seemed like they were saying it was likely to be pulled. And then what was it this afternoon? I saw another one that said like it was for sure. But either way, I saw it pretty early in the morning from Instagram, from every feed possible. Yeah,
every gun guy's feed went crazy. And there's a couple of different things out there. I know the folks in the chat have some comments that they're making. I was actually, so my friend that I just spoke about, John, actually wrote an article on this, and I was looking at it, and this is on AmmoLand, so I'll just throw this up here for you guys to see. It says White House withdraws Chipman's ATF nomination, but eyes new position as gun czar. And I just saw Jay says Biden says said he's still gonna use him in another position, so that's probably what they're talking about there. And then if you scroll down in that article, I'll let everyone read it. They actually posted something from the Brady folks, and it says it's reported that the White House will withdraw the ATF director nomination of David Chipman after a smear campaign from the gun lobby, plus resistance from a majority of senators. And then they put to hashtag end gun violence, we need a qualified leader like Chipman for the ATF. So
God,
they're still on it, obviously. They're not giving that up.
No.
Yeah. Let me hear the take from you guys on all of this. Whoever wants to jump in. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's tough. I mean, to say that he's going to be someone who is qualified to tackle gun violence, that's kind of tough. With the history that I think has been displayed so far. And on top of that, I think the internal documents that have come out and the comments that we've seen, I don't have any verified information, but it sounds like a lot of folks that worked with him at AFT weren't happy about it either. So
get it right.
I mean, I don't think you have to go back very far to be concerned about that, but the idea of a gun czar is something that was floated a while back when Biden tapped Beto for it, and he basically pointed him out and said, "You're the guy that's got to get this done or get this done."
Yeah, it's a gun czar. Yeah.
So it's I don't know. I think he would meet the same level of resistance if he went into that role too. I mean,
yeah, it's almost the same. LV Louis Cipher out there says, "Isn't BATF the gun czar?" It's like, I mean,
you would think.
Yeah, that's a redundant position to make him the gun czar. What's the ATF is supposed to be overseeing this whole thing. Personally, I think they shouldn't even exist. Yeah, what difference would it make to make him a gun czar? It would just be like a political, kind of like a
I think
useless thing, right?
leadership is needs to be defined, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you have the AFT out there, it's a nebulous organization that
Mm-hmm.
unless you do something and you get their attention, or you have an FFL and you have to work
Mm-hmm.
with somebody at that branch,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to really have a face for that organization, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
the alphabet soup, and you hope they never show up at your house.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is if you put a spokesperson out there, if you have someone who is defined leadership, right, then you can get a mission statement, a direction, and it also potentially can draw some heat off of Biden, like you know, having his own agenda to move forward at the discretion of the president kind of draws some of that back to the individual who's now running the organization. So,
Mm-hmm.
and potentially has cross governmental interaction too. If you have various committees and government entities and even anti-gun groups that want to get in on this, they can all collate with this guy who's now the gun czar and pool resources to try to affect an end.
Maybe worse, maybe a worse thing you're saying, right? Because they'll be doing all kinds of craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you elect a king, you've got to have a kingdom, right?
Mm-hmm. So
And,
yeah.
and right now, it's a group of people who are doing a job. And when you have somebody, when you appoint a gun czar, I mean, it's like a drug czar, right? We've had a drug czar. We know what that's like. We know how that went. And
Yeah, we got more drugs.
Right, coming from the world
and more deadly.
As a retired law enforcement officer, I could say that that didn't go all that well. And we've had to go back retroactively to cure a lot of the ills that came out of that. Sure, there were people who got caught up who were doing some rough things that needed some help, but there were also excesses too. And so I feel like it's politically driven. I mean, that's obvious, but when you have the capacity to create a czar, then that's a political mechanism. It's a body that's willing to set a mission statement and start marching.
Yeah, and you're at least trying to pacify your base. So I see Lola here wants us to start from the top with Chipman. Let me go to Lola's instructions. What does she say? When did we first hear of Chipman? What is his background? Why is he not a good pick? That's coming from Lola. So when did we first hear of Chipman? I guess after Biden. Once, did we hear of Chipman before the elections were over, or I think it was right after the elections?
I don't know that he necessarily pinged anyone's radar, but certainly retroactively with Waco, I know that's the one thing that a lot of people have pointed to and how that was handled. So I don't have the specific information of his involvement, like if he ran the op or what involvement was.
From we had a guy from a former ATF agent. I see some people were mentioning him in the chat. Vince Sheffield, he was on. I don't think he was running that op, but he showed up there afterwards, according to him. And we could pull up Chipman's Wikipedia if you want, but I don't even know if we need to rehash that whole thing. So this former ATF agent that was here on the show said this guy was always a loser. That's to just sum up what was going on with Chipman, right? So he wasn't very well respected at the ATF, but then also he's been working for this gun group, the Brady campaign, as well as other people for a long time. There's a lot of things that have come out about Chipman. There's been racist stuff, all kinds. We were talking, I think like a week or 2 weeks ago, that he was a marketing director for a company that sells something called Shot Caller. Don't know whether or not you guys have heard of that, but they sold it to lots of different cities. It's basically a sound detection device. Yeah, and it's a waste of money. I think Chicago in the last 3 years has spent $33 million on this thing, and it has it has like a 5% effectiveness according to government bodies that are overseeing what's going on there. So
an audio-based geolocation device to home law enforcement response and to shots fired calls.
Yeah, yeah. And so Chicago wasted a lot of money on that. Not effective. They actually try to use that stuff to set people up. There were a couple of people that one guy was set up on a murder charge using that. Just lots of crazy things going on there where the company was faking evidence and all kinds of stuff. And Chipman was a marketing director for that, as well as working for the Brady campaign and doing all kinds of useless stuff out there.
Well, that's enough. I mean, the Brady campaign is enough right there.
Mm-hmm. Why would
if there were nothing else, then
yeah.
we would already be at odds.
Yeah. How do you guys in the industry look at this, Dave? You've been in the industry for a long time. Doing a couple different things here. How did you guys take the news of?
The news of him not being nominated. Yeah, that's great.
No, well, the news of him being in there. I mean, does it really affect you guys that much, or everyone at the ATF is basically like, "Oh, this is no good for us"? How do you all look at that?
No. I mean, obviously, we deal with our ATF agents that do compliance checks and stuff with us, and we like them. They're great. But seeing like this guy being nominated, no, that was absolutely just red flags for us left and right. I mean, you couldn't have picked any more of an anti-gun person. I mean, he's fitting for somebody Biden to pick because, again, his administration doesn't like guns. They don't like us. So why wouldn't you go for an extremist like this guy to have him run ATF? It's absolutely fitting. But no, we were I don't say terrified, but kind of terrified of this guy getting in. What kind of chaos is he going to cause? And now I think this is a great little victory now. But like we're saying with this whole gun czar thing, it ain't over.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
for sure, it's never over, right? I don't think that Biden is just gonna go curl up in a corner and hide from this thing. But I mean, it was definitely. I think nominating Chipman was a signal to their base that they're gonna do something. Because Beto is what? Is he? What's his thing? Transportation secretary or something ridiculous
something
like that? Yeah. So this is where these guys are at. Like Beto, for example, is transportation secretary, and they're the administration is planning. I think in what is it like by 2030 or something? We're supposed to be switched over to all electric cars, and they had a thing at the White House where they invited the three major automotive players here in America, basically like Chrysler, GM, and Ford. And they left out Tesla, which is the biggest manufacturer in America of electric cars. And Beto actually has a Tesla. And when they asked him on the news why they left Tesla out, he was like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." That guy. This is how these people are
that's
crazy.
The transportation chief. Yeah, that's great.
He's in charge of transportation, and it's the same thing like with Chipman. You're gonna put a guy in there who's completely anti-gun. We have the Second Amendment in America. That guy is planning on tearing everything down. Everything is run by politics. They left Tesla out because they don't like what Elon Musk is saying. He doesn't go along with the plan on the left or whatever. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk is a liberal. But he still speaks his mind, and they don't like that.
Nope.
So that we're going to put that guy in charge of transportation, and then he leaves out the big. There's no company on the face of this planet, whether or not you like electric cars, there's no company on the face of this planet that's gone further with electric cars than Tesla. And you're going to leave them out.
Yep.
Of your big conference.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're talking about. We don't need them. No.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing here, with the whole Chipman nomination to the ATF. And I think also what I was hearing before this came out was that nomination was permanently on hold. There was no way they were going to be able to push him forward, and maybe they would just leave it like that, almost like what happened under the Trump administration. I forgot the name of the guy that Trump put up. And then that became a fiasco. Someone out there is going to remind us of that. And then that just became permanently on hold, even with Trump.
Right.
So that's what I was hearing here with Chipman, that it was just going to be permanently on hold. So to me, hearing this news, I'm like, oh, they must have someone else they're going to put up there. And then this strategy of, we're going to make him a gun czar, because they figure they could just do a whole bunch of executive orders and try to. It's probably it's good news, and it's probably the worst news, if that makes any sense. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that, as transportation, it's almost like a holding pattern for him politically, right? It's a place where he can go and kind of cool his jets for a while, but still maintain some public collateral. And then if things continue to roll in the Democrats' direction, he's potentially there to jump on board. So I'm not necessarily fooled by that. I think Beto is still. I mean, he made it pretty clear when he said, "Hell yes, we're taking your AR-15." So you don't back down from a statement like that. So he's waiting in the wings to take his shot. But
you think Beto's still going to jump over here, huh? Maybe they'll put him up.
I don't know when, but like I said, he said that electrifying statement. It electrified both sides, right? Some of us were like, "The hell you will," and the rest were like, "Oh, that's wonderful! Finally, someone who's saying what I want to hear." But unfortunately, he's just going to step off to the side for a minute because he's just a little too hot politically. But then Chipman rolled in, and I think people hissed at that also. So I'm glad at least that it still shows that we have some clout, out there, even if we're just enough to raise such a fuss that they have to reconsider or take another plan. But I don't think we're necessarily rid of Chipman either. He's here to stay and try to do something, whatever his dirty ends might be.
Yeah. That brings up a good point, I think, Dave, that Sean was making about our clout, right? Like, we have influence, and I saw people talking about this. Would you agree with that we exerted some influence here in this situation, and if we could get together maybe in other situations we could do something?
I certainly like to think so. I mean, it's kind of like, even through the more high point side, I threw out there saying, look, he's out, we won, but this isn't over. Contact your representatives. That is just as important as it was several months ago. Reach out to them regularly. Hound your representatives, really and truly. I mean, we're always going to be fighting this uphill battle, and right now it's not looking any better or any easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in this battle, man, pressure is a really important thing.
Yes.
I'm sure there's going to be people that poo-poo it, but it's really important here. I think especially we've kind of been missing out in the last couple of years from the usual pressure that would be applied because of what's happening with the NRA. I mean, I'll leave that as a separate thing. I think a lot of people are aware of what's going on there. But because there's no pressure coming from the NRA, a lot of politicians, even on our side, have been doing whatever they want.
Right.
And we've got a lot of rhinos out there who act like they're really on our side and they support us and they believe in the Constitution, and specifically for us, the Second Amendment's important. But if you actually put pressure on them and they realize, like, oh, we might have people looking at us who might start not voting for us, it makes some things happen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think really, really, really important to stick together on that and keep doing that, because we still have a lot of crap that we have to deal with out there. There's the whole not just the bump stock thing, but there's the brace thing, the pistol brace thing.
Yeah.
ATF is trying to get into a position where they can make anything a machine gun.
Yeah. What's the new triggers now that they're going after?
Yeah.
Rare breed.
Yeah, they're going after rare breed, but if you really look at what they're doing with not just what came out from the pistol brace, but they really want to set themselves up where they can say anything is a machine gun, and therefore certain things that would fall in the category of accessories, like a pistol brace, for example, or even like triggers, all of a sudden they can say those are not accessories. They're potential machine guns, and therefore, we should have our say over that.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting point for me. Just coming from a law enforcement background, I didn't write the laws, right? I mean, there were laws that we agreed with and laws that we didn't, but we didn't write the laws, and we would have to go out and enforce them. based upon what issues we were confronted with on a daily basis. But
Mm-hmm.
when you have an entity that has potentially the capacity to change definitions and
Mm-hmm.
therefore change the elements within the laws that they enforce, that's a little alarming and potentially rife for abuses.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I think it creates a kind of a unique situation. Normally, we have those separations in powers, checks and balances,
Mm-hmm.
right, for our enforcement and our legislation, and and their combined movements lately have been a little bit concerning in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think about that, Dave?
No, I agree with that completely. I mean, I think, you know, them making these moves of what they can control and illegalize, it's where's the checks and balances going? It
Yeah.
seems like that stuff is eroding away. I mean, and people are seeing that more and more and getting more concerned about it and more irritated about it on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. I think it's a. I don't know why. Well, obviously, I think I do know why. I shouldn't say that. That's terrible. But, there's folks out there who want to ignore the laws that in order to have society, right? We all loosely agree on these. Hey, these are the laws of our society. But if you don't,
Social contract, Hank.
yeah, and if you don't like something in that and you decide, well, I'm just going to make that illegal, or I'm just going to wave a magic wand and all of a sudden that's going to become illegal, that's going to lead to the erosion of that society and that peace that we have inside of the society, right? Because if you happen to be in political power and you're just like, we're just going to make up whatever we want to, we don't care about your freedom of speech or your right to defend yourself or this thing or that thing, we're just going to impose whatever we want on you. That's when we all start going, oh, okay, I see how this is. Right?
well, Chipman was a great example of that.
Mm-hmm.
He even said he felt the First Amendment was, I forget how he put it, but he said the First Amendment was something that got in the way of them looking at seeing who could potentially be a bad guy. It's like, are you kidding me? Really, dude?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
yeah, I think there's a lot of we've been talking a little bit about that. There's a lot of stuff there where if especially the rogue agents, I don't think like everyone at the ATF is necessarily like that. Probably
not at all.
more nowadays because of all the political appointments and stuff like that. But yeah, there's folks out there that would like to get rid of everything so they could just grab every gun in America, but there's a line that they're precariously close to, I think, that when you go over that line, there's going to be people who even maybe in the past were on your side, they're going to go, hell no. And in the last couple of years, the massive spikes in sales that we've seen of guns and ammo have mostly come from people on the other side who would normally agree with those guys.
Right.
But they stopped agreeing with those guys when they started seeing cities burning in America and people being locked down and all kinds of craziness happening. I'm like, we might have to defend ourselves all of a sudden. It's weird, right? I don't know.
And gun sales skyrocketed, and ammo left the shelves at a prolific rate.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, man, this is crazy times that we're living in. I don't know. That's probably
for sure.
Everyone's saying that, but we're living in batshit crazy times.
Yes, without a doubt, without any doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's other stuff going on. I don't know if you guys did anyone have anything else that you want to say about Chipman, or folks in the audience, if you guys have something you maybe want us to discuss with this whole Chipman thing. I'll give everyone a couple seconds here to get into it. What I actually see from what I'm seeing in the chat is everyone's fighting about me saying something about Tesla. I see that right now.
That's kind of
There's a lot of battery discussion going on.
Yeah, there's a whole
now.
fight going on. Tesla's fighting words to people. But if you're out there, you're watching, you're listening to this, smash the thumbs ups, share this if you can. If you have a specific thing that you want to get into here, and if you guys are getting all crazy about me, mentioning Tesla, I think it was LV Louis Cipher said that Teslas spontaneously combust. That's not true. I'm looking at one right out the window of this van right now, and what happens, just like things happen here in the news, we need to really be careful about this, right? What happens in the media and how we consume things that we hear. If you actually follow this, you'll find out a lot of the news stories that get out in the media about Teslas just blow up and set on fire. They're always finding out that someone did that as an insurance scam or some other kind of thing that was going on. And it's not like if you just go by that headline that you see and you don't actually follow those stories, it could be misleading. That's the thing that I would say to folks out there. And it happens to us in the gun world, and we should think a little bit about it before we start applying that same thing to everything else. That's what I see happening with Joe Rogan right now when they say he's taking a horse dewormer.
Oh God.
To deal with COVID. Meanwhile, he's taking like a very highly respected drug that's been used for a long time.
Right.
And the media is like, oh no, it's horse dewormer. Ignore what people are saying about. So just that's the thing there. I don't know if okay, so here we go. Chris Rodriguez. This question was like destined to come up, Dave. He says, "What's the steel case ammo situation?" Why would you ask that, Chris? I don't know.
I don't understand.
Yeah, does this have something to do with Dave having something to do with steel case ammo?
I don't get it. I mean, we're shipping ammo, so what do you mean?
Yeah,
it's out there. We're shipping it daily. I mean, come on.
No, okay. All seriousness, Dave. Lots of people out. This is the thing, right? This is something that came from the Biden administration in the last couple of weeks. All of a sudden, it was announced. I was kind of expecting this, just from what I hear in different circles. But this whole ban against Russian ammo, there's been a ban against guns and stuff like that. What have you to say, Dave of Barnauls?
We'll cut to the real meat of it. This has nothing to do with anything going on in Russia or with any poisonings or assassinations, nothing like that. This is a gun control move. That's all this is. I mean, you read their statement. We've got it shared on Facebook, but you can read the government statement about it, and it talks about the poison being used, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, and we're going to ban Russian imports. This has nothing to do with ammo. This is about stopping gun owners. It's a gun control maneuver. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to do to actually punish Russians and how it's going to stop them from killing dissidents.
Nobody.
Or trying to kill. They didn't actually kill that guy, I don't think. The particular.
No, that's right. Yeah, I think you're right.
It wasn't lead poisoning either.
Yeah.
That'd been easier.
Yeah, and is it going to put a stop to Russia being able to sell ammo to the world or even America?
To here in the U.S., eventually, it's going to make it difficult.
Okay.
But to the rest of the world, no. The rest of the world's doing their own business. They have nothing to do with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, you guys are bringing in a lot of ammo. Is that still coming in? I think from what I heard, contracts and stuff like that already set up a good for a couple of years. I don't know if you want to clarify what's going on there. Okay.
Yeah, it has to do with the Form 6s that we put out to import the ammo in. Any Form 6s that have been approved, we can still bring that ammo in. So we have approved Form 6s for a bunch of ammo, so we're still going to bring in a bunch of ammo. Eventually, will that run out? Sure, it will. I can't put a timeline to that because I don't know. But yes, I mean, at the current state of things, eventually this ammo supply will dry up. Ammo costs are going to go up. I mean, they've been going up, but for now though, we're going to keep getting the ammo. We're going to keep bringing it in. If you need it, go get it. Just stop hoarding it.
Okay, so from what you're saying, ammo's still coming in. You guys still have ammo coming in that doesn't fall under this. Okay. I think we've seen a spike in prices. Do you have any say over that, or is that something, because I think that you guys, your model is a distribution model, right? I don't know if you want to explain that to folks.
Yeah, like we had, even before this dropped, we had a price increase come from Russia, so at that point then it makes our prices go up a little bit to our distributors, but then from our distributors it goes out to our dealers and out to consumers. I mean, it's that simple. There's not been some huge, oh my gosh, people are going nuts buying ammo, let's crank our prices up. Hasn't happened. We haven't done that.
Okay. All right. So you already had a price increase that was in there. As a distributor, you pass that on to the stores. So if we're seeing prices go up in places, Do we start writing angry letters to Barnauls, or who do we write these angry letters to?
Representatives who are messing with everything. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, the truth is, you can't control it, right? Like, if you're the distributor
Right,
and I'm
absolutely
and I'm the store, whether I'm a big store online or whatever, and I get it I got it from you, I set my price after that, right?
right, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
So yeah, you guys have to take it up with those guys. Now, are those guys taking it up with you, or they're like, oh, we want it cheaper?
We get some of that. I mean, we get the occasional phone call of like, I
Mhm.
found your ammo here and there, but
Mhm.
you still get a lot of, I just can't find your ammo. Where's it at? And I tell people, I'm
Mhm.
like, look online, first place. We
Mhm.
have buy now links. You can try those beyond that. And also,
Mhm.
it's 2021. I mean, you can Google everything.
Mhm.
Google hates guns and ammo, but you can still make them help you find the ammo. I mean,
Mhm. Mhm.
so we get some of that of why is the price going, why is it this, why is it that? And it's like, what do you want from me? We
Mhm.
sell it for X price. We buy it for X price. We're not making that
Mhm.
much money on it. We're really not.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, ammo. You make your money in ammo by volume. I mean, it's not like we're just laughing going, ha ha ha! Look at all the money we have from this Russian ammo we brought in. Nah, we wish.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
probably
it's
already have
not that.
contracts and things like that. Chris Rodriguez says Barnaul 762 by 39 doubled price everywhere the day after the ban was announced. Yeah.
And that wasn't on our end. Just
yeah.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hank,
go ahead,
I've
Sean.
heard
Mhm.
from a few places that we interact with that there were manufacturers that had, a couple of price hikes come up.
Mhm.
And part of that is them trying to meet the demand, just being
Mhm.
able to spin up a little bit more. Most folks were at capacity anyway. It's hard when you're running full bore to try to meet that demand to actually implement more
Mhm.
capability. And
Absolutely.
a lot of folks are doing that. So
And
I think
you can't tell the internet that either though. They don't want to hear that.
no, that's not that's not convenient.
Yeah.
No.
So a lot of people will chase some kind of conspiracy on that, but
Mhm.
the reality was that there were several manufacturers that had a couple of incremental bumps that it goes down the chain all the way to the consumer eventually.
Mhm.
And Dave, you're absolutely right. I mean, volume is key. You have to
Mhm.
be able to move a lot of units in order to get something out of that thin profit margin.
Yeah, and if I mean, you guys can speak on this probably. I know Dave definitely can better than me, but most of your big, reputable companies, okay, notice I said reputable. Okay, there's some places that definitely do price gouging, but most of your reputable places that have got these orders in and have things set up and all that, they're not going to change it. But if everyone in the world wasn't trying to figure out how to get their ammo right before that news came out, what would happen is at the time that news, and I actually saw this in person, I saw this play out, that the news came out and then there were people who didn't have ammo and they started making calls and ordering stuff online. So your reputable places sell out immediately. Then your not so reputable places, what do you think they're going to do? They're gonna go, oh wait, everyone's. This is coming out in the news, so now it's gonna. This is just. It's like an unfortunate thing that happens, but it happens all the time in lots of different places. So, I know that doesn't help anyone out there who didn't get this ammo, But trust me, there's people who work in this industry who have the same problems that folks out there have.
Yeah.
Because they're getting a paycheck, they have to pay bills and take care of their family, so they can't necessarily, like you might think, oh, this guy's working at XYZ big company, he's got all the ammo. No, he's paying his mortgage.
Only.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, he's buying food for his kids, paying their fees. It's like, and then this happens, and everyone goes and buys everything, and then yes, there's people out there who push the prices up. My solution for that is don't frickin' buy at those prices.
Yep.
And maybe it'll come back down. Let me see. Before anyone has anything you want to add to that, before I go, there's a question here. DCG 44s says, can't someone just set up to make ammo in another country or expand current production to fill the void? Yes, it will take time, but capitalism, mofo, and then a bunch of dollar signs.
Sure, they can, but it also takes time and also a ton of money. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
who can just open up shop and start producing ammo tomorrow? I
Yeah.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can get bullets, maybe you can get material for casings, maybe you can get powder, but then primers is a whole other thing. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry.
Um,
And you run into the same issue that I brought up just a few minutes ago, which is building that infrastructure to support increased capacity.
mhm.
You know, building bullets, building the actual final product is something that is it takes some care and some consideration.
If you want it to work.
I mean, I want mine to work, so
Yeah.
I'm willing to
There's
pay
more
for
bad
it.
ammo out there I've noticed lately also. In just the last couple of years, right?
You got to
Because
wonder if
there's
the
some people
quality
rushing
control
into yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're trying to increase so much.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any issues with a lot of name brand stuff, but
Mhm.
stuff that I'm used to shooting. But it's you mentioned it earlier, Hank. It's been a struggle for I think a lot of folks who usually rely on those relationships to try to accomplish their mission. Getting ammo to shoot reviews.
Mhm.
If you have an organization that conducts gun reviews and you expect a certain amount, let's say 500 rounds, right, for a pistol, maybe.
Mhm.
You want at least 500 rounds, maybe 1,000 rounds for an AR. That's kind of tough now, and your prices are going up exponentially. So our profit margins start to
Mhm.
fade a little, and you have to reallocate how you approach those reviews. So
Mhm.
you still want to give it a good shake, right? You don't want to say, we couldn't afford enough ammo, so we shot 2 boxes of ammo, and we think this gun is great. Yeah, that's not credible.
Well, at that
So
point, you're not. Well, yeah. This is the semantics of what you say that you're doing. Are you,
right,
putting a couple of shots through this thing, or are you somehow trying to make people think that you're doing some kind of long-term evaluation in 5 minutes? Which to me, it's not possible, right? I think
no,
a
it's
lot of
not
these
credible.
things, yeah, it takes a lot of time,
Yeah,
and or someone somehow gets their hands on a lot of ammo. And I know that's like,
right.
first world problems for us as gun guys. But if you're sponsored by some, like, so for example, on the main, obviously here on the podcast we're sponsored by Barnaul, which we appreciate. You know,
Absolutely.
and even on my main stuff, I'm sponsored by Fort Scott. I have not gotten any kind of ammo on a regular basis. I literally have to beg. I even do that with Dave. I'm like, Dave, what you got,
Sorry,
man?
man.
This if there's a box fell on the floor and cracked open,
Yeah.
that's what this is. Just it's the reality. I know it sounds
Make it
funny.
blend.
Am I making it up, Dave?
No, it's sad but true. It really is that way.
Yeah,
Make whatever you got.
yeah, and then we do what we can do. But yeah, you definitely can't pretend that you're,
Right.
doing some kind of, big round count thing on that or what. I don't think you could do that anyway. Even before we got into all of this stuff, I don't. It takes time to really go through something and figure it out, right? I think the way that if folks are looking at these videos, in a sensible way, that person has to have that thing really for a couple of years for you to get this. What you think about this thing when you first get your hands on it, what happens when you put the first rounds through it, maybe a couple of months later, 6 months and a year later, you've come to other conclusions. Maybe 2 years later it fell apart, or you think, wow, this thing is indestructible.
Right.
There's all kinds of things that happen in between there. Does this thing rust in the safe? Is it do I like to use it even, right? There's all these kinds of things that just really take time for you to figure it out. So, but definitely I've seen since this all started with ammo, there's people like, hey, we literally only have 2 boxes. We're putting some shots through this. Take that for whatever you want.
Yeah,
You know?
and the thing that's crazy about it is everyone is relying on the same resources, right? And when everyone increases that demand, the resources become more scarce. So
Mhm.
you're all kind of clamoring to get into that same honey hole, and it's not there. And
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
almost by luck basis. I know that some distributors are working with manufacturers, and they'll be really good about telling them, "Hey, we're going to have a batch of this, that, or the other
Mhm.
coming up soon. We'll be shipping it out shortly." And other companies, you just get what shows up on the truck, man. That's what I've been hearing, and so it's difficult to even predict what the end consumer is going to be able to purchase, and there's no way of knowing sometimes.
Yeah. And I think when someone was referring to moving the company, there's probably inferring in there that, some of these, not really that they're moving manufacturer, but maybe ownership or something like that. Like, oh, all of a sudden this magical company over here, you know, owns this, but it's
Yeah.
really the same ammo, just under a different packaging.
Well,
I know there's some theories that could help out. Is that feasible?
I talked to Kurt at True Shot Gun Club recently, and
Mm-hmm.
just brought that up as a possibility. Like, what if?
Mm-hmm.
What if you have a manufacturer here, maybe not necessarily someone related to Russian ammo, but what if you sat like a local organization that's currently producing ammo in the United States, say, oh, well, we anticipate that at least within a couple of years, there's going to be a real demand for 7.62 by 3.9. So let us start doing that. Let's delve into that and start spinning up. I mean, it's going to take you a while to build that capacity up, but yeah, I mean, like the comment inferred earlier, capitalism. There's always going to be that potential opportunity, and maybe based upon the current output that's happening right now, some of these companies can reinvest and move toward that market. But I'm not sure that they're going to. I'm not sure that
Mm-hmm.
they're going to, because from what I understand, and Dave, correct me if I'm grossly mistaken here,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably not going to have an effect for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of our outlook. I mean, even that could shift and change, but
Mm-hmm.
our outlook on it is, we're gonna still bring ammo in for a pretty good little bit. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
So the
so yeah,
actual
I don't
drying
see
up
anybody
is going to
else
take
popping
time.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit of time. Well, as long as hoarders quit hoarding. I mean,
Yeah. So, well, yeah. I mean,
Hoarder's
that's
gonna hoard.
yeah. Well, you can't turn a hoarder into a housewife. you know.
Oh,
Oh man, I know that sounds like crushing and cruel to folks out there. Don't think that we don't feel your pain, and we don't deal with these things, because we do.
yeah, we do. Yeah,
Okay.
we do.
But I mean, ultimately, there's nothing to do. If everyone panics and buys into something, the price is going to go up, and if you're expecting like companies here to be able to make it cheaper, that's I don't think that's going to happen.
That's too
If
likely.
Yeah, Born to be a Shooter Josh says my Grendel's my favorite rifle to shoot, and now that will be gone. I can't afford $1 a shot or more. When I could
mm-hmm.
go buy Creedmoor in 308 for the same price or less, I'll probably shoot it a couple times a year. Um, yeah.
I feel
If
for him. That sucks.
yeah. Unfortunately, that's the situation that's going on. But I actually had someone on here. I'm trying to remember who it was now, but who was saying that it's more than just these like specific rounds that we look at that's coming from Russia, right? Like 7.62 or 5.45. There's a lot of 9mm. There's a lot of
Oh, and
5.56.
223. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you agree with that?
absolutely. Because we bring in just as much 223 as we do 7.62. And we
Mm-hmm.
bring in a ton of 9mm. I mean, so no, those
Mm-hmm.
are all gonna take a huge hit. So it's
Okay.
not just the AK guys that are going to get shafted here. It's going to be everybody
Mm-hmm.
that shoots steel case. I'm one of those guys. I've been shooting steel case for I don't know how many years now. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, before we picked up Barnaul, I was shooting a lot of just steel case all the time because it was
Mm-hmm.
affordable and I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It did what it needed to do. But no,
Mm-hmm.
it's everyone's going to feel it. I mean, the 308 we bring in. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think that's going to be a thing. Chris Rodriguez says the manager at the local big box store said they have tons of ammo in the back, but are limited in how many can be put out.
it wouldn't surprise me. I've heard people say that before.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Hell,
this is.
I heard of a lot of shops that are like the honest guys that aren't price gouging. They're the ones that are still doing a whole 2-box limit. You can only get 2 boxes a day, and that's it, because they want to sell it for a fair price and not go completely dry on it.
Yeah. And just I don't know. I think we could say this over and over again on the ammo thing. This has been going on for over a year, this ammo situation. Okay. One of the things about this is we've got to stop buying ammo at ridiculous prices, and we've got to shoot less ammo. This is
more low-round count drills.
Yeah, if you have ammo and if you've been training all this time, chill out or switch to like 22 or something like that. Yeah, well, seriously, if I get it. People need to practice. I believe in that, right? We got to practice and stay out there, but chill out and don't buy. What is the saying? Buy low, sell high. Don't buy when everything is high and crazy. That's the only way the market's gonna come off of that. And the market, I think, for ammo looked like it was starting to get softer, become a better market until this news came out. Yep. And everyone went into panic mode. And this is where, and maybe in the next couple of years, if we could forget about it, if we pay attention maybe to voting and get some of these idiots out of office, you could swing this back in that time to get some of these things removed. I'm not going to promise anything's going to be removed, because I don't know what the hell one president, regardless of what party he's in, removes from the previous one. Yeah.
No, and that's kind of like our big takeaway from this too, is like you said, you can't count on a presidential change. You can't count on any kind of admin change. What you can do, obviously, vote when it matters, and still hound your representatives. Stay on top of them. That is absolutely key, is hounding the representatives. If you just sit back and go, I'll let those other guys, I'll let these different gun groups take care of it. No, man, you've got to be part of it too. Every one of us that shoots an AR hopefully made some kind of comment to the ATF on the whole brace situation. It's even that level. You got to do that and hit those representatives up. I'm not be beating a dead horse by the end of this by saying that, but that's the truth. Hit your representatives up.
It's tough. Like, a lot of people want to give up those kinds of fights just because sometimes it's frustrating. I get it. I'm sitting in Florida where we got gun control put in 2018, and that was done by Republicans, okay? Republicans. And one of the guys who actually wrote the bill as a Republican, okay, wrote it, voted for it, he's now the president of the Florida Senate. Okay, he's now going to be running to become agricultural commissioner, which here in Florida controls CCWs, right? And this is a Republican who wrote that bill. And when I look at it, there's still like pro-gun organizations supporting him, and holding parties and fundraising for him. And this guy put gun control in Florida, the gunshot state, right? So if we don't pay attention to what's happening, even though it's rough, right? You just get burnt out on it. If we don't pay attention and fight all those fights, then we are literally going to have to fight. But if you have a family and people that you care about and things that you have to do in your everyday life, you're not immediately going to, okay, let's just all go into a civil war mode. You need to do these kinds of things until your back is truly to the wall, and then you don't have any other choice. I don't know if that sounds crazy to you guys.
No, not at all.
It seems more and more feasible as we progress or regress. I don't know which direction we're going currently.
Yeah.
Feels pretty backwards, doesn't it?
Yeah. Edge of the South says start reloading. Who wants to take
easier said than done too.
Yeah. It's not.
Primers.
Huh?
Primers.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first pivots that people started shouting when ammo was clearing shells. Go on, reload. Sure, sped up on reloading, but then the primers were bingo. Nobody had any, so that you're back at square one again.
Yeah. Yeah, the reloading is not necessary. It's been tough for reloaders out there for a while.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that reloading situation's been rough for more than a year. Probably at least close to about a year and a half, I want to say.
Oh, absolutely. I still shoot. Yeah. I still reload a lot at 9mm. So I shoot a lot of handgun reloads, just because I can, because I always have. And yeah, Bullets got really hard. Those kind of came back around. Bullets you can get again, but still primers. No, almost non-existent. I mean, you get them when you can find them.
Yeah.
But it's terrible. Their price has gone up too.
Man, it's just tough out here for a gun guy these days. It's tough, man. That's why if we get this news like with Chipman, we're happy. And I'm with everyone. Don't get crazy happy. It's like,
Right.
But we're happy because we're not getting a lot of wins.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to take credit for where it's due and enjoy the small victories, right? But one of the first things that popped into my head is the devil that you know better than the one that you don't. You have to wonder about that because, sure, this you can consider it a victory, but is it going to be somebody else? What's the next prop? What are they going to throw out there? Who's going to step up and say, "I'll take care of that. I'll become the gun czar."
Yeah.
It's or I'll run the ATF. Anyone who has that kind of ambition, great. That's awesome. But what are your political leanings and what agenda do you bring to the position? And I think it was pretty obvious with Chip.
Yeah. When it comes to politics, I think I would rather see a state of confusion. So like with the ATF, I would rather they stay in a state of confusion and they don't appoint anyone at all.
Right.
And this has been going on for a little while. Trump couldn't do it, and I'm hoping maybe Biden can't do it, and we just keep all that. And even because I don't know what we get out of Republicans having a supermajority, or the other way around of Democrats getting a supermajority, right?
Yeah, and I think that you've got evidence to support that because even though there have been some agendas that have clearly come out, even this disorganized organization recently, they haven't accomplished as much as they would have liked. If you have someone who comes in with a very clear message and gets everybody singing on the same sheet of music, that's more of a threat potentially. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but more than likely they will because of the current administration.
Yeah, especially on the other side for us. Like if we got someone on the right or someone that was conservative or believed in the Constitution, and maybe I don't have a lot of faith in that because that kind of happened already with Trump.
Yeah.
And we had that supermajority, and all of these guys kept telling us to wait for the midterms, and then in the midterms they all got their asses kicked. And I suspect right now the same thing's happening on the left. That they're all telling their base wait for the midterms and they're trying to do stuff to keep them happy or whatever, and they're all saying wait for the midterms, and I hope they get their asses kicked.
Yeah.
God, I hope.
Yeah, it seems the best for us is that nothing happens and everyone stays in a state of confusion and no one can get their stuff together. Now, is that sustainable in the long term for America? I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. But it seems to me that we almost have to break for us to realize things. Look, we've been dealing with this COVID thing. We're going into like shows. I was talking to Dave about this before we started. I said to what did I say, Dave? Do you think there's going to be a SHOT Show?
SHOT Show.
2022.
I kind of doubt it.
Yeah. For the second time, NRA canceled the NRAM. Right? So, SHOT Show, probably by the time we get to the beginning of next year, there's not going to be that, because I see shows getting canceled all the time. And the amazing thing to me about it, Americans are still taking it.
Yeah.
That was kind of an interesting bet on timing, though. And I want to say, because NRAM was originally scheduled, and I thought it was March, and they had gone back and sent out that reschedule, right? And then they canceled that, and then cycled back and said, no, we're going to push it back because things are the way they are. And then it's kind of whether you're trending through those parabolas, right? We're either high and things are bad now, the emergency room is full, or it's, things are okay. And depending on where you're at, I think there was a time frame where NRAM could have potentially run, and they wouldn't have gotten pressure from various entities to not have it because of the COVID situation. But when you have trending up, at least that's what appears to be happening. then it kind of puts it in a tough spot for them. And I think a lot of the people who are going to attend, the people who would bring money to that event.
Yeah. So I don't know if Dave would talk about this or not, being the industry guy that's here. I never thought NRAM was going to happen. Like, outside of COVID, I didn't think it was going to happen. And my personal thought on it is, from the rumors, and as I'm saying, rumors, it was that a couple of these board members, I shouldn't say a lot, but some of these board members were going to get subpoenaed at NRAM, the NRA guys. Okay? So, just thinking about that, like, with everything going on with the NRA, a lot of people, like, I didn't want to go there. I know there's companies that don't want to go there, but of course there were a lot of companies that were set up to go and put their money up. But there was that coming out, and I think in a lot of aspects it's convenient that that COVID was used as an excuse. I'm not saying that companies didn't pull out because of COVID, because they also have liability. If they send their folks there and people get sick and all that kind of stuff, at the least case you have all these employees who are out, for a while, and you're not being productive. But I think an element of that, there were some companies that probably didn't want to go and show any support for the NRA, and then all of this stuff was coming out that, yeah, these guys are going to get hit. I think the New York State Attorney General saw that as like the perfect opportunity. Yeah, let's show up on these guys and serve them with some stuff. I don't know if you guys have heard anything like that, or want to comment on that.
Not on the subpoena thing. That's pretty interesting. I kind of wasn't even thinking about that until you said it, that would have made a interesting timing to go get these guys. So I can't say that I've heard of any companies that were pulling out from that. There's always been the rumor of companies that were pulling out to show their lack of support for NRA. But I think a lot of it really was just COVID. I mean, we weren't pulling out. We were still geared up in. We literally were kind of hearing the list that was official going, dang, we're going to be like one of the biggest booths there then. I was like,
you're going to rule.
Attendance is going to be down. It's going to kind of suck compared to normal years, but we'll take it. Let's go. Yeah. And then once they pulled the final plug, I was like, okay, all right, I guess we're out. It's not happening.
Yeah. Oh, so you guys were in no matter what.
We were still in. Okay. Yeah, we were still in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were planning on attending too. We were looking at the floor map and looking at where all the vendors were, and unofficially hearing that this one left and this one left and this one left, and it was all the giant booths, right? It was like a really
that list got big. First it was like 5 big guys, then 10 big guys, then 15.
That was enormous. Yeah. And so we were like, oh, I don't know, because at what point there's a tipping point, right, where it's not going to be worth it necessarily. And I think it eventually died a thousand cuts. But I wanted to address the subpoena issue real quick. I heard absolutely nothing about that. Just hearing about it now. I wouldn't say that it was impossible. Certainly unlikely, I think, just because out-of-state subpoenas are pretty difficult to serve. I mean, you have to go through a series of hearings in order to justify them to the local jurisdiction where the case is being tried. And then on top of that, you have to come out typically to the jurisdiction where the person is going to be and have another hearing and try to establish that this person is material to your case and that you have the opportunity to serve them there. And typically, if you have someone who's related to the NRA, if they're in Texas, but they live in Austin, say, you're not going to go and try to catch them at an event in Houston or Dallas. You're going to catch them where they live, where they work. So, I think that's unlikely. Certainly could be wrong, but I'm a little bit familiar with that out-of-state subpoena serving process.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly how that would have worked in this situation. I know I was hearing it from multiple places, and the reason why I'm saying it's a rumor is because there's like I spoke to someone that said there are actually board members some board members were expecting that, but there was no news that got printed on that because there was no corroboration of that whole situation. But they, like, even for example, I heard there were board members that were losing their indemnity, so even the NRA wasn't covering them legally anymore, and all kinds of weird stuff happening there. And who knows, right? We don't have a massive insight into what's going on at the NRA. It's a very locked in thing, and Wayne LaPierre is pretty tightly controlling what's happening there. But I know that the people who I was talking to, I have seen them talk about stuff before, and it happened, and this stuff was actually coming, from what I hear, from board members.
Yeah, and I'll jump into the comments real quick. Lynn Holt asked about serving out-of-state subpoenas. You can, but there are 2 judges that have to be part of that process. A judge where the subpoena originates, and then a judge who has jurisdiction over where the witness lives. And you have to get through both of them and prove that their value is wholly powerful enough to overcome the normal restrictions about serving out-of-state subpoenas.
Yeah, so what do we know about the politics of, this was the NRAM was going to be in Houston. What's the politics of Houston? Is that, do you think that it could be feasible there, that between New York City and Houston they can make, or New York State and even Texas, that they can make those kinds of things? Or you're saying that would be highly unlikely that they would make an agreement like that?
Unless board members actually live there, I think it's unlikely. If a board member were somewhere else and they came to Dallas or Houston, I just think it's unlikely.
What about in a civil situation? Do you think, like, if there were civil suits and things like that, that is more likely if it was a civil situation?
I'm less familiar with the civil processes, but still out of state jurisdiction is divvied up for a reason, and so there's going to be a process anytime you have a jurisdiction that wants to reach out and potentially have impact on another jurisdiction. And so, and of course, the people have rights. So, big surprise there. A judge is going to want to hear why you think it is that you need to come into their state and subpoena somebody for a case.
It would have to be some kind of cooperation there in order for it to be done. And by the way, Sean, if people don't know, this was his thing, so he would know about this. I'm sure he's locked up a couple of people in his days.
Well, the thing is, I can tell you from the criminal standpoint, it has to be serious cases, right? Like homicides. If you have someone who's a witness in a homicide in the state of Florida, and they flew out to New Mexico, and you could locate them, and you could say, hey, this person was a material witness, they saw this, they could testify to information that could potentially convict a killer, then that judge in Florida is going to look at that process, they're going to review it, and they're going to say, okay, I agree, I think this witness is material, you can go forward to New Mexico. But then you have to reach out to where the judge is in New Mexico of the witness, where they live. And then you have to say, hey, judge, we would like to come and serve this person. And you have a show cause hearing. And what happens there is you actually serve the person a demand order or a subpoena to get them to come to the show cause hearing. And then the judge listens to you as the prosecutor to say, hey, we want this person to come back to Florida and we want them to testify in this homicide case. And then the judge says, okay, I want to hear why you think they're so important. Then the prosecutor provides that information. But then the witness has the opportunity. Oh, nice. Then the witness has the opportunity to say, hey, judge, I get it. I realize that I'm an important witness in this case, but I have an elderly mother that I'm caring for, and it would be too difficult for me to return. And so then ultimately the judge has to weigh that out and consider the witness's obligations.
Right. Okay. It would be interesting. I would be very interested to see what happens with what comes out of this in the future. And I know that NRA was trying to switch. Weren't they trying to switch over to Texas in the first place? But that was denied. They were trying to switch
the incorporation, right? Their
Yeah.
articles of incorporation, I think, were
Mhm.
originally in New York, and I believe they were trying to transfer.
Yeah, they were trying to, and they got denied, right? I think Texas denied them that.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know about
Oh.
that.
Yeah, if someone if someone knows about this better, this because there's a whole bunch of stuff that's always jumbled up in the back of my brain. But I believe it was Texas. First of all, you can't get in trouble and then switch everything. So you can't be registered in New York City and then when you get in trouble, go hold on a second, or New York, let's say, right? Because I think they're
We're in
registered
Texas now.
in New York. Yeah, yeah. You know what? We don't want to be registered in New York anymore. We're registered in Texas. Yeah, it doesn't really happen like that. So I wasn't surprised when that got denied. So you can't, once you get in trouble, you can't do that.
Yeah, not since like the 1930s, right? Not since people were still riding horses into town.
Right.
You can't just go to a different town and use a different name.
Yeah.
Doesn't work out.
That whole thing is gonna be, man, it's gonna be a fiasco when we see it finally. By the way, Simon Says Train is out there. He says what's up to Dave.
What's up, Tony?
Yeah, let's see. There's another legal thing that's out. So let me see. I'm gonna switch over to that right now, unless someone else has something else. I actually saw a Military Arms channel made a post about this. Let me see if I could pull this up here. So here we go. This is on MLN News. Also, U.S. military court rules bump stocks are not machine guns. The United States Navy Marine Corps Court of Criminals Appeals has ruled that bump stocks are not machine guns in the United States. V. Ali Alskaz. I'm definitely messing that up. Marine Corps private was convicted of possessing 2 machine guns in violation of Articles 83, 107, 134 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. These machine guns that the private had possessed were bump stocks. The private's defense counsel argued that bump stocks did not meet the federal definition of machine guns. The ruling is found here and embedded below. A 3-judge panel agreed with the defense, unanimously ruled that bump stocks do not meet the definition of a machine gun. And it goes through all that stuff. Have you guys heard about that?
That's awesome. No, not this one. That's
No, I
awesome.
hadn't heard about it.
Yeah. Now that's for military justice. Obviously, it's not settled yet here. I know that Military Arms Channel is part of an ongoing case involving that right now.
Well, so I thought there was one recently that was ruled. A judge kind of did the same thing, said it was not part of a machine gun.
Yeah, but I think they did. I think they challenged it, and now it has to go en banc or something like that.
Okay.
That's kind of like my recollection on that. I don't want to say that this is what I expect, but this is, a bump stock is not a machine gun.
Yeah, it's a stock.
It's
a novelty
not,
stock.
yeah, it's not a machine gun. It doesn't you can't pull the trigger and hold the trigger back.
Right.
And it works, and that's the definition of a machine gun. Unless these guys are able to change it and make whatever they want to into a machine gun just because they feel like it. So,
Well, that's the concern, right? That's what we were talking about earlier. When you have an organization that can potentially move the line of scrimmage, change the rules of play, then that's always a possibility. I think this ruling, even though it was on the military side, it still can be accessed by civil courts and criminal courts in the civilian world, and should be used to support our case for making the argument.
Yeah. I hope eventually, I guess, I think the Supreme Court is going to probably have to take up this whole thing.
Eventually going to have to.
Yeah, I don't know. The Supreme Court isn't really taking up anything lately.
No, not of anything of hugely concerning all the rest of us.
Yeah, unless it's settled. 42 Chilled says en banc. Yeah, so I mean, it could get settled there. Especially if the Supreme Court says, "Hey, you guys need to settle this. We don't really want to have to take it up." But I mean, if this went all the way to the Supreme Court, there's no way that bump stocks are machine guns. There's no way.
No, because they're not. I mean, It's not like it's that complicated. It's really not. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's just like we were talking about this yesterday, that there's the guy who was making the key card. It's like a business card that was engraved.
Yeah, the lightning link thing.
Yeah, with the lightning links. And that guy's been in jail. We were talking about it yesterday, since January.
Shit.
All of his stuff been seized and all that for just like in etching those lightning links in a business card.
Man.
And we had John Crump on, and he said because the ATF said that, in 8 hours they were able to make it into, actual lightning links. Well, then that's not a machine gun.
That's not, yeah. Oh my God.
8 hours, in a machine shop? That's not a machine gun. But there's no way they can actually get away with stuff like that. And I think that would fall under the First Amendment because it's art. It's considered art, right? It's not, it's not a machine gun until someone makes that into an actual lightning link.
Cut it out.
Yeah, that can turn an AR into a machine gun. So, I don't know, man. Obviously, all of this stuff has to go through the courts.
Yeah.
To get settled. Just like you guys, I think Sean was mentioning the rare breed trigger. Have you guys? Has anyone actually shot it? Because I haven't. Anyone here?
I haven't.
Dave.
Dave's got it.
Yeah, Dave, you're our expert. Tell us about this thing. We know you don't have one, just in case.
I don't have one.
Yeah,
I was actually with Tony Simon. I was with Tony Simon. I went
out Tony Simon. I don't think Tony Simon has one either. No, he doesn't.
No.
Yeah,
no. It was a guy attending his diversity shoot.
Right.
That was, I don't know. It was like, well, it's September now. Beginning of August. I went out in his neck of the woods, and one of the guys there had it, and I thought it was just like a binary trigger. Who somebody got a really good, cadence going with it, and he explained to me with the forced reset. Which the funny part is I'm pretty sure I've shot a forced reset trigger before. It was an Olympic Shooter's 22 pistol. Because as I pulled that trigger, it was an electronic trigger on top of that. It kicked my finger back out, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." This thing reminded me of that. I mean, there was a forced kickback, but because I know, from running my guns where to hold the finger, your finger is still moving. It's moving every single time. But oh man, doesn't it shoot fast? It's insane.
Yeah, it's I've only seen videos of it. I'm sure you've only seen the videos as well, Sean, right?
Yeah, exactly. I know Jackie Billings covered it for Pew Pew Tactical. Wrote a pretty nice piece with some in-depth information on it, but none of our folks had hands-on with it, so that's interesting, Dave.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting case. Yeah, it's it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. I would say that it's probably, if your finger actually has to come back and then come back again, I would say that it's not a machine gun. This is the definition, right, of what we're talking about. But
the very simple definition is one trigger pull, one shot fired, right? I mean, if we could oversimplify it, that's what the AFT is telling us. So I think the the fun or interesting thing about that is if that is the rule, then we are going to have manufacturers, inventors, entrepreneurs, if you will,
necessary human beings.
That's right up to that boundary. And then tickle the edge and see, okay, well, if that's the case, then you won't mind if I can create this, right? And that's innovation. If that's the rule, and we have a clear playing field, and that's what's established, then wonderful. We stay within that, and sometimes you're going to have to get a ruling on those devices, and we've seen that. I mean, the bump stocks was kind of another example of that. But the thing that I fear is that because we have all this effort to step right up to that line and say, okay, we agree to those rules too. We're creating a product that adheres to those rules, and then they're going to be like, that kind of looks like a machine gun to me. It's not by that definition.
If it doesn't walk over that line, it's good with me.
Right.
That's all.
Exactly. But on the other side of things, Hey, I see what you're doing there. They're
For
going to
sure.
be watching carefully.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be watching that. Look, I hope that the rare breed guys are able to kick asses.
Yeah, I
And
hope
have
so.
it.
I really do.
You know,
It's definitely potential to set a precedent,
yeah,
right? I mean, we had that with the bump stocks. The bump stocks, that was a precedent because they went away and then they were like, no, that's it's not a
We
machine
don't like
gun.
these things. Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't like these now.
Right, right.
yeah,
We gotta
Yeah.
get rid of the bump stocks. The bump stocks gotta go. But then they came back and were like, no, okay, that's not a machine gun. So
yeah.
yeah.
I'm hoping this comes out in their favor, just like I hope in a lot of these different cases, so that we could stop a lot of this crap that's going on out there. I think that the whole idea of machine guns being NFA items, or you can't have access to it. That's nonsense. We should get rid of that. Same thing with the pistol brace. I hope that we win on the pistol brace thing, and they realize that the whole idea of SBRs is stupid. That you have to, register these things and all kinds of nonsense that we've been going through. I mean, it's none of these things that they're attempting to do are effective, right? It's the same conversation that we have about suppressors, man. There's still states where people cannot get suppressors.
It's just nuts.
Yeah, and that just should not be a thing. And it's just I really believe that I'm not saying this just to like with a wink or anything like that. It's a health issue. Like, I have tinnitus, and I personally believe every single gun should have a suppressor on it. You have tinnitus also? I'm sure you do.
Man.
Yeah.
I can tell you that, like 15 years of driving emergency vehicles without ear protection, shooting a lot. I always wear ear protection, but yeah, it's very real.
Yeah.
And I don't want to damage it any further, and there's always that potential. Did you hear, Hank? I'm assuming you did, about the recent legislation in Texas where manufacturers in Texas won't have to go through the stamp process for sales?
I heard about that. I mean, we that's supposed to be in Kentucky as well, I think, right? Although Kentucky allowed some federal agents to go in there and lock up some people.
I didn't hear about that one yet, and I don't know where the one in Texas sits, but it's potentially very interesting to me as a newly minted resident of Texas.
Oh, okay. All right. Congratulations.
Yeah, because that's my understanding. Like, if it's made in Texas and you live in Texas, no tax stamp, no nothing. You just buy it over the counter like you would anything else. Which,
and it's exciting,
it's awesome.
man. I mean, there's Radical has some suppressed products out there. I know Whip Machine. There's some folks here in Texas that do a lot of fun things. So I'm anxious to see how that pans out. I know that the feds will probably want to have a say, but Texas kind of doesn't give a crap.
Yeah. Well, so whenever I talk to legal guys about this, or just folks that are interested in these kinds of things in general, we always have to make sure that there's actual teeth. I think there was a case which we've spoken about here in the past in Kentucky, or at least two cases where Kentucky, I think, has the same thing. But there were federal agents that came in there and locked up people, and I believe one of the guys was in the military or something like that, and he's locked up behind it. I don't have it right in front of me. I'm sure the folks out there in the chat will remind me of exactly what that was. But yeah, there's cases where they go after people, and so I hope with Texas they've actually put some teeth in there, and Texas is not gonna allow folks to come in there and lock people up on that, as we've seen happen in Kentucky. So I would have to pull that up, which I could probably do. Or if someone out there has the link so I can bring that up for you guys. Here's what I want to do. Two things, though, before I do that. One, John Crump wants me to plug his fundraiser that he has going on. That's on Saturday. So Saturday evening sometime, John Crump's going to be doing a live fundraiser. and I'll share some stuff with you guys. I think I'll be there. Walter will be there from Safety Harbor Firearms, giving away some cool stuff or whatever. So if you guys want to know more about that, you got to go check out John Crump Live, and we'll get that. So I got that up. And then two, while I'm looking this up, okay, our Appalachian Gunrunner says Kansas, Hank, not Kentucky. There you go. He lives in Kentucky. It's not Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
It's Kansas.
Damn.
He says, I always say Kentucky. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
If it was Kentucky, I'd be moving south.
yeah, Kentucky, Kansas. Okay, so it's Kansas that happened. So I think Kansas had some thing like that, and it happened. And John Crump, he gave us some money here.
Money, 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 money.
He says,
money.
he says he's going to be giving away 18 P80 kits, 2 80% lowers. Hold on. Let's see. 3 SHF lowers, body armor, 80% SIG kit, books. Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. There you go. And John Crump says it's the Kelter case in Kansas. Jeremy Kelter. Okay, so let me see. I'll look that up. So while I'm looking it up here, Sean, you're talking about Pew Pew Tactical. We didn't get a chance to get into this. Last time you were on, you hadn't retired yet. So you want to tell folks like what exactly happened here with the retirement? Congratulations on that. And I guess you're working for Pew Pew Tactical now.
Yeah, so 22 and a half years of law enforcement. I did my last 7.5 at a DA's office. During that time, I was writing for a lot of different publications. One of them was Police One. I was started at Pew Pew Tactical in 2018, and wrote for some print publications too, like the Glock Annual, Gun World, and American Survival Guide. And then even Guns.com. Just kind of got around to a few different venues and learned a few different styles of writing. And things have been rough for law enforcement over the last couple of years. They've been rough for a lot of folks. But it got me thinking about this fun thing that I did on the side. You know, I would write on the weekends, sometimes at night, but typically on the weekends, and I would go out and shoot, and started attending events and, you know, having a lot of fun. And I realized that after all the years of helping folks, you know, get through sometimes some really terrific stuff, it was not as fun for me anymore. And a lot of problems that I was seeing repeated were not improving. And I had an amazing opportunity come up. The folks at Pew Pew reached out, and they said, hey, you know, we're looking for somebody to do business development and work on relations. And interestingly enough, that's one of the things that as a freelance writer, you have to be able to do that. You don't necessarily have someone who's there in the mill making connections for you and saying, oh, here, take this project, connect with Dave Barnaul, he'll get you everything that you need, right? You
got to track Dave down on your own. Good luck.
And you know this. I mean, you've been through this, right?
Yeah.
Because you know, when we start out, the word we hear a lot of times is no, right? We hear no a lot, like, hey, man, I really like to review this product of yours. I think it would be really cool on my channel. No, I mean, sometimes you don't even get the response. No, you don't hear anything. So they asked me to come on board, and had to relocate to Austin, Texas to do that. And I was cool with that. Austin's a cool town. Texas is an awesome state, and Pew Pew Tactical is an amazing organization. We have a lot of good relationships with folks in the industry, and cover a lot of really cool products. And I've now consolidated my efforts. I don't work on the weekends anymore. I focus strictly on relationships, and I still write reviews. I still write articles. I have a column on Tactical that is called the Blue Brief, that specifically deals with law enforcement issues, and the whole topic is here's what it's like from this standpoint, from this side of things, and I think that the origin behind it was you had a lot of processes and procedures in law enforcement that do not allow public commentary. I can tell you that there was a case out of Fort Collins a while back that there was a young lady who was being a little bit obnoxious in town, and she was contacted by the police, and the police gave her, when they figured out that she had committed a crime, they indicated to her that she was under arrest, and the officer told her multiple times, turn around, put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest, you're going to jail. And the fascinating thing, right, and this is optics, right, we go back to perception is reality. What the world saw was from a couple of guys sitting at the bar, turned around with their phone and started filming, just as the officer swept her leg and took her arm and took her down to the ground, right? Now, fascinatingly, she was almost back up on her feet and fighting within a matter of seconds. They finally effected the arrest and got her into custody. But this snippet of a situation came out and it went viral. It was all over. It made it on the national news. Mm-hmm. And of course, headlines come out, police officer using force to effect arrest. This big male officer is, throwing a skinny young female to the ground. And there's no context, zero context. Mm-hmm. So because there's an active investigation, right? Now there's more than one active investigation, because now we have an issue. Now we have a situation where citizens are arrested and force has been used to effect that arrest. So the DA's office went, we got nothing to say. We're currently investigating this, right? Well, there's a reason for that. And the reason is when we have an investigation going on, we can't say anything about it, right? We can't make an explanation. We can't offer any opinions about it because we have to follow the facts. And so what ended up happening is almost nothing from the DA's office. There was no comment, and that video ran, and it ran like wildfire, right? Mm-hmm. And so it became part of this collective narrative.
Yeah, court of public opinion.
Yeah, and right. Everything that the police are doing wrong. And let me be honest with everybody here. I'm the last person to say that the police are perfect. We certainly have things that we can improve in. But my idea behind the Blue Brief was there's a lot more to the story here. And because of what law enforcement goes through, we don't get to talk about it. We don't get to say, oh. In fact, when the DA's office reviewed that case, they looked at the body cam, which went on for seconds, this young lady. Oh. And the last thing he said was, please don't make me do this, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't like to think about using force against someone. I don't like to think about using force against anybody if I don't have to. But she was actually charged with a couple of crimes and later convicted. Now, she fought it and, of course, went on the national news to say, oh, yeah, they came in and they did whatever, and I was thrown to the ground, and it hurt, and I was embarrassed, and I was upset. Mm-hmm. But there's a whole other reality that was recorded on that body.
And that's what we expect people to say. I mean, let's be honest, Sure. Any of us out there, no matter what we say, if we somehow get arrested and it goes viral, your lawyer's telling you, hey, this is viral. You got to go in there.
They were mean to me.
Condition, right, is to justify your actions. You want to say, but he said something about my mother, so I went haywire.
Yeah.
I get it. But
right.
But the reality is, law enforcement is kind of hamstrung by a lot of the procedures that we adhere to. So I'm cut free of those. I don't have to do those anymore. Mm-hmm. And
it's got to be fun.
Clearly, it feels good.
Yeah. Now, there are a lot of things that sitting here wearing this shirt, I'm still not going to say. Mm-hmm. But when I get on my keyboard and I can tell you stories about things that happened and how they affected me, how they affected the people that I worked with. It's cool, and I really like to think that, you know, it doesn't matter if what color you are, what creed you are, where you come from, what religion you subscribe to. I feel like if people sit down and they have a conversation and they get to understand each other a little bit, you may not agree, but at least you kind of get a better perspective of where someone is coming from.
I agree with that. Yeah.
When people get to at least hear the other side, then they think, okay, maybe I'm not so immediately going to be judgmental about that. I'm not curing anything, but I think that at least from my own perspective, it's somewhat cathartic for me to get in there and say, oh man, you guys would probably have a bad reaction if you saw this happening, but here's what led up to those events. And then here's even what happened afterward that, you know, no one cared about anymore because it wasn't a salacious tale by then.
Yeah. I think respect should always go in both directions with all of us when we're dealing with each other. I think police officers should be respectful, which, like in this case, you're saying the guy maybe was even too respectful. And obviously the person, you know, on your, everyone has to be respectful. Once we lose that, or once one person loses that, that's how we get into a perfect storm of situations, you know. And a lot of things can and are usually avoided when we're dealing with each other just by being respectful.
Yeah. You know, and some of the topics that I've covered are kind of wild, kind of crazy. I talked about advocating for yourself and when dealing with law enforcement, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean I pay your salary, you know.
Because that always works.
You necessarily can advance through your situation, but I do believe firmly that people have a right to customer service when it comes to interacting with law enforcement, particularly if you've been the victim of a crime. Now, if you're the reason that law enforcement showed up in the first place, it might be a different perspective. But, you know, especially if you're a victim of a crime. And in this one article that I wrote, we had a situation where some troopers contacted a guy who was at a campground and dove into a tent. And then a shot was fired. Now, the troopers ran and they called for backup, and we had to kind of figure out what happened from there. And I can tell you, as the lieutenant at the time, that was a great responsibility, and I had never heard of anybody that I'd worked with in SWAT of someone breaching a tent. Like the idea of
you guys, I remember you saying you told this.
Yeah,
you had to breach a tent, battering ram.
So I finally wrote that article and got to put it up, and you know, without worrying about my agency's not going to be happy about this if I write this one. Yeah, it's out there now, so that was cool.
Yeah. I know sometimes people get like touchy when we have these conversations, but I think it's a good conversation to have. And if you're free to do it, we'll work out some stuff. Maybe we'll have like a panel with mostly you know, police officers or former law enforcement and stuff like that. We'll do some stuff. Yeah, I think it's good to have these kind of conversations. People hate, like for example, people really get mad when Vincent Sheffield comes on, right? Because he was an ATF agent, everyone just wants to hate him. He's literally on our side. Like, I follow him on Facebook. Vince is one of you guys. he has the same, like, he gets mad about the same things, all of that kind of stuff. Like, he's been railing against Biden and all of the, you know, everything that's going on, right? He hates David Chipman, all of that stuff. But people are like, oh, why you have this ATF agent on here? And no one's perfect. Everyone has their point of view. I think sometimes we just need to listen to people, even though we don't agree with them 100%.
Yeah, specifically because we don't agree with them, right? If the cognitive dissonance that continues to grow only if we don't listen to each other. And unfortunately, I feel like that's a kind of a microcosm of our entire country right now. It's reflective of a lot of things that have happened. And because we haven't been able to stop and put our preconceived notions aside and listen to that other side,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to. Things aren't going to improve if we stop listening.
Yeah. If we can have conversations and take it easy and allow ourselves to make mistakes, and you don't have to die on the hill of something, you listen to the other person, you don't have to change your mind either, you're not going to get hypnotized.
Yeah, Hank,
I
change
mean,
my opinion.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
coming over to Pew Pew Tactical has been great for me. It's a really great team. The organization is enormous, and I just want to brag briefly about the efforts that these guys have put together. It was started by Eric Hung and his wife Paula, and Eric got into guns, and he wasn't the typical guy that was raised around guns and was out hunting on the weekends and doing stuff. He got into it, and he realized that he didn't know a whole lot about it, but he was really interested and keen to learn. And man, he started a blog after several people who were similar to him, friends of him, were asking him questions. Like suddenly he became the expert, right?
Okay.
And the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Right.
So Eric says, I'm going to start a blog. Let me start a blog. So he started writing about this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say it was like 2016, 17, somewhere in there. Pew Pew Tactical got started, going to events, reviewing products, and just growing a knowledge base. And one of the coolest things about it that I enjoy is that it was almost antithetical to the gun counter commando.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The guy that's going to tell your wife that she needs a 38 or,
shotgun. Just rack the shotgun. Don't have ammo in there. Yeah. You don't even need ammo in the shotgun. Just rack it.
No. And I've gone.
The crackheads will jump out windows.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Fire 2 blasts outside the door.
Biden approach.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've gone through like several of the articles over the years, and I've contributed quite a few, and I really like the approach. The tone.
I still hear gun stores giving that advice.
Oh, sure.
That's never going to end.
No, it won't end. No.
But I learned to write print, and that's very formal, and that's a very specific approach. But Pew Pew Tactical is like your buddy that knows a little bit more about guns than you do, and you can safely go to them without feeling emasculated and learn about firearms. And the information that you're going to get, it's not SWAT level, It's not going to be like so high end that you're, oh my God! But we talk about very basic stuff, and the knowledge is solid. It's good. It's good information.
Pew Pew Tactical, I think, has grown to be a pretty big organization in the last several years. I think that we've talked about them. There's been some controversies.
I'm not aware of any controversy.
Gun people. There's always. I don't know if you.
I
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you're. Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny any controversy.
Yeah, but I think that they've grown pretty fast, and it's a pretty big organization at this point, right?
Yeah. Some of the basic numbers, you can look at, like unique views a month, unique visits a month. That's one of the ways that websites are rated, and we peaked around 6 million, and that's enormous.
What's the specific? Yeah, what's the specific Instagram?
I didn't have anything to do with it.
Are they on social media? They're on social media. What's their Instagram?
So it's Pew Pew Tactical.
Not underscore, right?
No.
Yeah.
It's Pew Pew Tactical.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to find it because there's some other ones out there.
Right. We've had a pretty big presence on YouTube as well. Some of our videos there hit pretty well. We've got John and, of course, Johnny B. Johnny B. He does videos for us there. And a whole covey of freelance writers that come from different backgrounds, and they still hit that very approachable tone and provide information about gun reviews. And one of the strongest things about Pew Pew Tactical is the SEO. Eric is a master at that. So, like, if you pick your favorite gun, if we've reviewed it and you punch it into Google just as an organic search, it will probably rank number one, or certainly within the first few results.
Okay. So the biggest place is the website, I'm taking it. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure that folks out there are already following it. I'm just going to try to pull it up here and see if we can show off something. So what you're doing, are you over a bunch of different things here, or specific?
I maintain a lot of the same roles that I've done before. Like, I'm going to be doing some videos. I still write. Occasionally I'll do product reviews.
Okay.
But one of my main responsibilities is interacting with companies and working on those relationships and just maintaining good relationships. When companies have a new release, I want to be the person that they reach out to and say, hey, we would like you to cover this and review this potentially for us. When we have things, events that come up, I want to be the person that would be the point of contact, that can reach out to our freelance guys when they say, hey, I need a contact at this gun manufacturer and I haven't been able to reach anyone. I've been working in the industry for a few years now, and if I don't know that person specifically, I typically know a few people that I can reach out to and find out. And I use LinkedIn a lot. The funny thing is, my stalking skills that I developed as a law enforcement officer have been fairly valuable to me.
Yeah, I feel sorry for these. I feel sorry for these people now.
I'm on you, Hank. I'm on you.
Yeah.
I'll get you a subpoena in Houston.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. Let's see. I don't know if there's any specific questions about that. I would definitely, the folks who are out there, if you've got some questions, let us know. If you've got questions either for Sean or Dave here, if you've got, Dave is also at High Point, just for any, if you guys don't know.
Wow.
I'm sure someone's gonna, you know what people are gonna ask about. Someone's gonna ask about. Oh, okay. No one's gonna ask about the yeet cannon. That's not gonna happen.
I was gonna say yeet cannon was on the tip of my tongue.
You had to say it. You had to say it, didn't you? You had to say it.
Yeah. What's the word, Dave? I can't actually have you on without at least asking you. I mean,
it's coming along.
Coming along. Okay.
It's coming along. Yeah.
That's the.
Well, fine. How this? Yes, yeah. It is coming along. Truthfully, we are working on it. It will be out because now the most current, Instagram, Facebook comments are they're not even developing this thing anymore. It's just a joke. They're not even doing it. No, actually, we really are. It's just it's the point. There's very, very slow and little small things that you finish that it's not excited to talk about. Hey, look, we got the new mag release springs are in. Nobody cares. We're not going to talk about that. We're just going to let it sit and let it be. But we're working on it.
Yeah, the high point design that's out there now. How long for the pistols? How long has that been out? I mean, how long did it take to develop that?
I mean, the current that I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. It's way before my time.
Right.
But I mean, the handguns they've not changed in 25 years, something like that. I mean, it's been a long time. So now to start over new, it's an endeavor. But again, you can't tell the internet that. They don't care.
Yeah.
They just want their product now.
Yeah, Brian Quick says vaporware just like AK-50. That's from Brian Quick.
You know what? The YSM will be out, and I believe we will the AK-50 one of these days too, okay?
Yeah, Sport Brand says, I care. He says, I need a High Point bad. So there you go. So let's see.
Thank you for caring.
Yeah, listen. I'm pretty sure Brandon is working on that AK-50. I've seen videos. It's first of all, it's going to take a long time to develop that, and I would like to know who of us or even in the audience is going to be able to buy one of those AK-50s. Okay, that's gonna cost car money regardless.
Not I. Yeah, not I.
Certainly
So-
lose car money.
Yeah, at least. Well, that thing's gonna be at least. I don't know. I'm gonna say it's gonna be,
Used.
huh?
Certified used.
Yeah.
Certified use.
25-point inspection. Certified used.
Yeah, it's
car.
that's gonna be some serious money for an AK-50. But it's interesting to look at them developing it. I've seen Brandon put out videos. It's in, it's moving along in the stage of development, and I know he's put up videos of him shooting it and stuff like that. But when they'll actually be out there for sale, I don't know. But I'll be willing to bet that you will see the actual yeet cannon from High Point come out.
Yep, we have it from Dave.
Yeah,
It's coming.
I'll put money
It's
on
coming.
that.
You know the
Kiwacka,
horse's mouth.
yeah. If Dave said it, we will hold him. We will hold him to that. All I know is when it comes out, I better see one show up.
Oh, come on. You know you'll have
Yeah.
one.
Because I
Give me
will be
that.
crying. I'll make a YouTube video with a piece of paper folded to look like a yeet cannon.
But see, you know what's gonna happen though. We'll get
Uh-huh.
e-cans out to everybody that want to review them. And if there's some like an embargo date on when you can drop your reviews, you guys are all gonna get called shills by us.
Yeah, because
we
everyone's
put
going
an
to put it
embargo
out.
date.
Yeah, on the same day. I
You
know.
know, that's what's
I
gonna
know, it's
happen.
going to be ridiculous. Yeah. There's no. I mean, what are you going to do? There's no way around that.
You're gonna
I can't.
Yeah.
you're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, people said the dagger would never come out. The dagger's out now. There was some things. I think when you're developing these things and putting them out there, if you put out something that there's a problem with, it will take you a long time to reverse that.
And that's exactly what we don't want to have happen. We
Yeah.
don't want to have any kind of, recall issue or some inline change issue. We don't want any of that crap. We want this thing to come
Yeah.
out and be as flawless as it can be,
Yeah.
and
And
just run.
I know a lot of companies have regretted that run to release, right?
Mhm.
And it's like software companies now. When you hear about a hot new game that's coming out,
Mhm.
and
Cyberpunk.
they're really they're really excited to get it out, and
Uh-huh.
then they give a release date, and then oh crap, final beta wasn't that good, so they had to go back to the drawing board.
Mhm.
Firearms are more important than that. I mean, this is a controlled explosion device.
Mhm.
And
Bingo.
if you don't get that right, the potential risk is enormous. So
Mhm.
I don't fault anyone who wants to continue developing and testing until they are very happy and comfortable with it.
Yeah, even when internally, and this is like, I'm just saying this, right? I don't have any kind of info from Dave on this. We haven't had these discussions like publicly or even privately. But even when the company feels like they're done, they need to send it out to some people with a lot of ammo and say, test this thing, maybe at, non-disclosure or whatever, and say, put this through whatever you want to, before they even still comes out. And that's going to slow it down for it coming out for folks. But I would still
Right,
say do
absolutely.
something like that,
You know what, Hank? I think that presents an opportunity. It might be rather.
Yeah,
unique.
I think that
We could
Dave...
create an institute where all we did is collect a few people together, and we could be the clearinghouse for a lot of these companies. Like Dave, Entrepreneur Spirit. He's going to have that whole idea of the yeet cannon. He's going to send it to us when he's finally happy with it, and we are just going to absolutely beat the snot
Yeah,
out
absolutely.
of it.
It better come with 10,000 rounds of ammo. I don't care if it's...
In this ammo climate, come on.
Start reloading now, Dave.
Yeah, and I'm gonna edit that video to make it look. I'm gonna shoot about 100 rounds and make it look like 10,000. I'll just edit it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just put it on
Got the
loop.
mags dropping out.
Yeah, remember on Star Wars where they did the with the...
Yes.
Yeah, I'll
Just
just do
loop
that. Yeah, I'll just keep that thing looping. Like, oh yeah, we did 10,000 rounds. Sure, Dave. Kiwacka says, is the hype around yeet cannon still going to be a thing when the gun comes out? I think
The what?
the hype around it.
Oh,
'Cause
the
you guys
hype.
had, yeah, you guys had a lot of hype around it.
But did we really do that much hype, or just the internet kind of hype it up itself? Kind of just the
Dave,
internet
as you
itself.
already
I mean,
know, this is what happens with all high points.
I know. I know.
Okay.
I know.
This is the gun that people in America love to hate.
And that's just the thing. We have no worry of that. The gun's gonna come out. The haters are still gonna hate us.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll flip a few with the yeet cannon. Our fans are still gonna love us. They're gonna love the gun even more, and we'll probably pick up some new people in between. So
Yeah.
not that worried about it. You know,
Yeah.
it is what it
Win-win.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think every gun guy worth their salt should at least have a high point right now. I know
Absolutely.
I've got one. I bought one used. I mean, you should have it, and at least you know what you're talking about. Even if I'm not saying you're supposed to love it or say it's awesome, but what drives me crazy is when a guy goes, "Yeah, I never had one of these. I never fired it, but I have some friends who told me." No, you need to find out on your own
experience.
Yeah, what that thing is. So, like, I bought one used because I was doing a series of videos a long time ago to see, can you buy a gun for $100? And the pistol that I got was a high point, and I got it for less than $100 used. Bought it from a pawn shop, and it worked. Like, I was shooting a bunch of different guns that didn't work. That cost more money than that, but it worked. The mistake I made with it, which I would say to people, don't clean it. So I went to take it apart to clean it, and some stuff came out of there and magically disappeared and was never ever found again. And here's the funny thing: I called up High Point, and they were like, "Yeah, what's your address?" And they sent me those parts, and I was able to put it together, and I still have that gun.
Nice.
And I tell people, buy one, shoot it, and then, listen, we need the yeet cannon because the ergonomics and stuff like that needs to get better, without a doubt. You know what I'm saying? And it's got a face that only a mother could love. I understand this.
Well, it's somewhat of an urban legend at this point.
Yeah, well, Glock 40.
It's got to be material.
As a Glock 40, it's a legend.
That'll never die.
No, that's never gonna die. That's never gonna die. So, I mean, I think it's how I feel about things. Like, you should at least have these things and experience them and stuff like that. And if you guys are able to put out this yeet cannon and have it be in that area, the same price category and everything, we're talking about a massive leap forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, feature for feature pack, it's still that entry level price point. It's there's still nothing else will be in that category. I mean, there just won't be. I mean, sure, you can have smaller guns that are in that price range, but not with every feature that's in that yeet cannon. It's just not there yet. I mean,
So, and then we're still looking at what we saw the last time we were allowed to have a SHOT Show, which was two years ago. There were two versions,
19.
right? There was
I had 5 pre-production prototypes out. Okay. It was 2020 SHOT. Yeah. 2020
was that the
SHOT
last one?
GOS.
Yes. Yeah. That was the last time we had one. Yeah. There were a couple of different things because I know I had you on a show. We were talking. So those different versions still coming out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah. So I would just say, hold your horses on it. DCG 44s says, surely you have never heard this one. When will we see the 5.7 carbine?
Yeah, I've heard that one a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, no joke. We have plans. We have plans for lots of things, but all of that comes after the yeet cannon. After the yeet cannon, you're gonna see High Point do all kinds of new things.
Okay. Yeah.
So
we're not gonna see a lot of new stuff right now when these guys are selling every single thing that's made.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's that.
Yeah. I mean, I would suggest that they just make what they have right now. I mean, it's not necessarily the best thing to stop your production when people are buying everything you make, and go to making another thing. So,
and that's the thing too. The YC9 is going to be the. It's not. I mean, the current C9 is not going away, but its production numbers will drop significantly. The YC9 will be that new main flagship gun, and we will work on new things. But also, we're not going to tell you about it until they're done, because the whole fun of doing the YC9 and kind of trying to talk about it obviously has not been great. I mean, it's just because you run into issues and headaches. You can't share every little tidbit of information, and people are getting annoyed by it. because we said we hoped for a late 2019 release. Well, it came and went. Sorry, it happened. It's called
I'm sorry, I gotta laugh
you know?
on that one. Yes.
No, I mean it's cool. It's cool. I mean, we knew it was going to come. It was like, oh, this kind of sucks. It's like, well, 2020 shots coming. What do we have? Oh, we
Yeah,
have
well, I
where
mean,
we're
you
at
knew
now
it.
with
What you knew, late 2019. Everyone knew. You might not see this until 2020. No one was expecting 2020 to be an apocalypse.
No, oh god, no. And that, that for sure caused its own headaches for us. You know. I mean, not hiding from that. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, and
Sign a
Brian,
new gun inside 2 years, please. Show us how to do it then. You know.
yeah. Brian Quick says the Cybertruck, AK-50, and Yeet Cannon are nice sentiments, but short on reality. You know.
I want a Cybertruck. I'm going to get one.
Yeah, I will get one of those Cybertrucks 5
Dude,
years from now. Whenever
I
it
want
comes
one.
out. Yeah.
I don't care when it comes out. I'll have one.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just wait.
Right.
Yeah, and shout out to some people out there that are just coming in. And Sport Brand says 10,000 rounds could buy a new Kia. Okay. Hopefully prices don't last. Listen, we're up. I can't believe it's after 9 o'clock already. I just actually noticed that. Like, yeah, we're having too much fun, obviously, because time has gone past here really, really fast. Sport Brand says, "How about a 17 HMR bullpup?" Okay. Yeah, you could.
Interesting.
Listen, right now you could get a High Point bullpup. You just get the High Point, get the kit.
Yeah.
What is it?
That's what mine's in.
Yeah.
Hightower Armory.
Hightower Armory. Yeah, Hightower Armory has a kit. There's a 10mm one. You know, out there you can get 45, all that kind of stuff. So, okay, listen, I'm not gonna hold these guys because we're over 9 o'clock. So we're gonna have to cut it short, and we'll be back tomorrow. What I want to do though, before we wrap it up here, is I'm gonna let both of these gentlemen tell you guys where you can go to follow them, support them, etc. I am gonna start with my friend Sean Curtis, Pew Pew Tactical. Where can folks go to communicate with you or see some stuff that you're putting out there?
Yeah, just go to pewpewtactical.com. If you go in there and search my name, Sean Curtis, you can find the stuff that I'm linked up to. But check out our gears, our guides, our videos and reviews and stuff like that. We also have a daily deals page that has some pretty smoking offerings for people who are looking to buy gun-related gear.
Awesome. Then let's go to Dave. Dave, same thing. Where can everyone go to ask you about the Yeet Cannon?
Easiest way on that one, highpointfirearms.com. Follow the social media links, whether Facebook or Instagram. I mean, we read everything. We don't always answer everything because there's just not enough time in a day. And same for Barnaul. Any questions or anything, barnaulammo.com. Follow to the Facebook and Instagram. Again, we read it all, just don't necessarily answer.
Yeah. Yeah. What we need from you is we need GPS coordinates of all the ships, so we know when they come in.
Because then they'll get hijacked. No.
I want to know when those ships are hitting port.
No. We'll have a new age of Atlantic piracy.
Oh yeah, trust me.
Steel-case mafia.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's all I'm gonna say. So listen, here's what we're gonna do. If you guys have more questions and stuff like that, you guys need to follow these guys on social media, both of them, and communicate with them, etc. We'll have them back here on the show. This was definitely fun because time went so fast. I'm gonna run in the end. I'm gonna come back. Maybe we can get Dave. Maybe you can hit us with some words of wisdom. We've had Sean do that in the past. So you got a couple seconds there to think about your words of wisdom. Yeah, we will get that from you. Let me run the end in here right now. Here we go. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you smash those thumbs ups, ring the bell. We're going to rip the audio out of this and throw it up on iTunes and all your favorite places to watch your audio podcast. Big shout out, if I haven't said it already, can't say it enough times. Thank you to Barnaul for sponsoring the show. We appreciate that. That's how we keep the lights on here in the van. And we're able to do all of this. So Dave, hit us with some words of wisdom, man. What you got?
Man, I'm just gonna say it's simple as all the madness and craziness going on, our rights under attack. Contact your representatives. Do it regularly. Pay attention to every issue that's going on. You don't have to be super in depth with it, but know enough and reach out to your representation. If we don't, then it's all for a loss. I mean,
yeah.
That's it. That's where it's at.
Absolutely. Don't get burned out. Just keep fighting, keep pushing back on these guys. I think that's pretty well said. Thanks so much, Sean, Dave. We're out of here. Yeah, you guys stay right there. Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you all. We're out of here. Peace. See you tomorrow.